Mic. Camera. Action.
He's in a meeting.
Yeah, I know, in about 2 seconds with the pecker. I'm gonna rip your fucking tits off. You wanna talk about trouble? That's trouble.
Whoa. What do you need, Peck?
And more like, what do you need, Les? Glasses?
What?
So you can read the Tropic Thunder contract that guarantees my client, Tug Speedman, some form of digital video recorder on location? Huh?
Look, Fuckstick, I'm incredibly busy, so why don't you get the hell out of here before I snap your dick off and jam it into your ass?
All right. Welcome back to the Filmography, the show dedicated to watching every credited film from an actor's complete back catalogue from past debut through to present day in chronological order. Each episode, I'm joined by an esteemed guest to watch and discuss the next entry from the focused filmography. I consider how it ranks amidst their career and whether we can trace any typecasting trends or topic traits or theatrical tics. Today, I'm joined by method guest Dave Horrocks to discuss McConaughey in Ben Stiller's Tropic Thunder from 2008. We watch, you listen, and hopefully watch along too. Good evening, sir. Thank you for joining me.
Hello, sir. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, behind the scenes, there's been some stuff going on, and you've kindly made some time to guest with me tonight to discuss this one. So, yeah, I think, as somebody who has his finger on the kind of the pulse of what is going on in the world and politics, and you're a person who's passionate and does care about kind of what views are being put out into the world. This is quite an interesting one for you to pick up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I should I go into the background of the movie rather? Well, first thing, it's great because by guesting, I get to talk about things that aren't just the VHS era, pre-2005. So that is a good thing. But in all honesty, I have only watched this movie for the first time about 2 months ago. So now, I'll be honest, it was the whole Robert Downey Jr. thing, right?
Okay.
So I saw the trailer, and even I didn't. So blackface has become more well known about how inappropriate it is. And this film came out in 2008. So I wasn't really aware that, about the whole history of blackface and stuff. But there was just something to my core where I was like, oh, that doesn't seem right. And there was a film that I've discussed with Chris, we will never cover. Well, this is the year of the stitch-up, but we discussed it before, and it's called Soul Man, and it is a similar thing where you've got a white guy, making out the blackface in order to get a scholarship, because the narrative being ethnic minorities get it easy, so you can just go and get an easy scholarship. And I remember saying to Chris, I remember that, but I'd never want to cover it because even in my memory, it's just so bad. Now, to be fair, even though it was obvious it was a comedy, I didn't realize quite what the movie was. And then just on a whim, like I say, it was on Amazon Prime, I think. And I thought, I'll go and watch it, see what it's all about. And it was a lot better than I thought. And they made a joke of it, whereas in the trailer, I just thought he was literally black for the whole movie. I didn't realize he was an actor playing a black character.
Oh, okay.
So I was kind of glad I watched it. And then it was just weird that you asked about this one. I thought, oh, well, it's fairly fresh, but I'll watch it a second time and we can come on and join it and chat about it. But yeah, so for me, it definitely put me off the whole movie. And a little bit annoyed at myself for not digging a little bit deeper and finding out, more about that. But then again, in 2008, I don't think I'd have been like I am now, where I scour IMDb as soon as a trailer comes out or something. So yeah. I mean, what about yourself? Had you watched it before, or?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a bit of a history with it, I think, to go back on, because around this time is when I was writing film reviews. So I've been in London for a few years, and it was just for a free newspaper that was, given out at train stations and stuff. But I'd lucked into this opportunity where, I was writing stuff and getting to see films for free, and it was getting published every week. It was, a really fun time of life. So I've been doing it for a couple of years by this point. So I did go and see this in order to review it for it to come out. So I was rooting around before we got online earlier, seeing if I could find my old review, because some of them are like lost to the ether. Some of them I have because I got given the newspaper when it came out, and so it just depends on luck, really. But I distinctly remember this movie because on this day was the screening was scheduled for the same day. I've got a large tattoo on my upper right arm, and it was the same day. So it was really locked in my head that, I'd gone and sat in a chair for 5 hours and got this tattoo done. Was all wrapped up with the cling film. And then I was off to the movie that night. So I think probably I was a little bit, it's probably a little bit, a little bit delirious. High off kind of, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So maybe it's kind of a perfect time to see a movie that really goes this hard at times and goes this silly, because I was in the right frame of mind for it.
I mean, I've had two. One was 5 hours, one was 6 hours on my back, like either side. And the first hour is okay, but then, certainly when you get into the third, fourth, and fifth hours, like your skin is so red raw. Like even someone touching it would be painful.
Just go back over this bit again.
Yeah. It's like, fucking hell, have you not finished that bit yet? You must. It feels like you've gone over there like 20 times. The same bit, you bastard.
Yeah. Are you tattooing bone now? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 5 hours and then sitting in a cinema. That is dedication to the cause. I don't think I could have done that.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, like I say, it was just kind of, that was my life. That was the culture, and it was good fun.
Yeah.
2008 was a pretty good year. You think about some of the stuff that was coming out around that time. Obviously, this dethroned Dark Knight to begin with. I mean, that's kind of crazy that Dark Knight had been top of the box office for 4 weeks, and then along comes Tropic Thunder and knocks it off its perch. But, Downey had been starring in Iron Man as well. And
yeah, it's the start of the MCU, isn't it?
Yeah, when I was looking back at kind of some of the other stuff that was coming out this year, it's not quite up to the 99 level, but 2008 is a pretty strong year, I think. And this is an interesting one that fits in there. I can't remember the trailer. As you were talking, I was trying to think back to it and about how it plays off what they do with Downey's Kirk Lazarus. I can't really picture it, and obviously, like you said, you missed the kind of the meta-ness of it, so maybe they didn't make that clear enough in the trailer, but I can't really picture it anymore.
I mean, it's 50-50, right? It could be too subtle in the trailer, or it could be just me not paying enough attention. So I don't remember seeing the kind of white Australian Robert Downey Jr. in the trailer, and so he's just blacked up all the time and talking like a black guy, and so that's and obviously it was a huge ensemble cast, wasn't it? I mean, it's interesting we'll be lasering in on McConaughey, but I don't know if you've, in all this stuff of his you've covered before, have you had such an all-star cast? Because it's quite hard to shine in this movie, isn't it, with the amount of people. Names.
There's no doubt that he's not the star of this movie for sure. I mean, I was looking up to some stats that say 15, maybe 16 minutes of screen time, and it's quite a arbitrary character, really. I mean, we'll talk about his subplot and how you feel about that, I think, as we go. I've got thoughts on it, but this probably is the one where he's quite happy to turn up, get a paycheck, have a laugh with some other cool dudes. I mean, he gets to act alongside Cruise. I mean, that's probably a bit of cachet, isn't it? Not the Cruise as we normally know him, but if you're told, do you want to fancy coming to do this role? I mean, he got it because it was going to be Owen Wilson, obviously being made to Ben Stiller.
I saw that. Yeah,
I don't know if you read that. It was around this time of a suicide attempt, which is obviously really tragic that he was in that place because that had happened shortly before filming. He obviously stepped aside, so somebody gave McConaughey the call and he stepped up.
And I suppose it's an easy shoe-in, I guess, isn't it? Because they have a sort of similar look, don't they? Just in terms of the long blonde hair and everything. And, around this time from the sort of 90s through the 2000s, you had Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson starring in a lot together. Yeah. So I didn't realize it was a suicide attempt, but it's quite a tragic. Well, not tragic how it ended, but really bad that he was in that place.
Because I think Darjeeling Limited might be around this sort of time as well, and it's almost kind of referencing that because obviously he was doing a lot of stuff with Wes Anderson as well as Ben Stiller, and there's some comments in that as well. Whether that was coincidental, whether that was put him as part of his kind of mate giving him some on-screen therapy, I don't know, but yeah, I remember it being a bit of a story around the time,
right?
But like you said, luckily, not the tragic ending it could have been.
Yeah, I mean, 2008, my second daughter was born, and it was only a couple of years. My first daughter was born, so I experienced that two-child thing, where you realise, holy fucking shit, this is hard. So yeah, 2008, there was very little that I saw that in the cinema, at least. So I was always a sucker for all the superhero stuff, so got those on DVD. It's like the Iron Man, the Dark Knight and stuff like that, but pretty much anything outside of that, I wasn't watching anything and just trying to cling to any little bit of sleep, snatch any little bit of sleep that I could throughout the year. So yeah, it's funny to think back. Different from you being hedonistic, getting a 5-hour tattoo and then fuck it, I don't need painkillers, I'm just going to go to the cinema.
Yeah, that's it. Only a couple of years later, it was my time where 2012, my first son was born, and it was a case of exactly what you were talking about. He was a terrible sleep when he was born, and I think that Christmas was a real bumper year. Everyone was like, he has not seen anything.
Yes,
the stack of DVDs I got that year was ridiculous. So we spoke about trailer, which I think is quite an apt place to open our discussion of Tropic Thunder, isn't it? Because this movie starts with some fake ads and fake trailers. Did you have a favourite amongst the collective? We get Booty Sweat, Scorcher 6, The Fatties Fart 2, and Satan's Alley.
So I think the first one, it would probably be a favourite, just because the style of it just reminds me of the 2000s, and obviously some of the things really don't age very well, because I was going to say, you remember Puff Daddy's videos and stuff, but just the style of it, and it just really takes you back. And I think whatever decade, when you're in the decade, you don't particularly notice an aesthetic or a style with everything. But just straight away, I mean, I wasn't sure. I sort of watched it through Amazon, and I was like, have I clicked the right thing here? Again, not knowing anything about it beforehand. I think I'm going to be watching a sort of comedy Vietnam movie. But yeah, I think that was my favorite. And then the other end of the scale, and I know it's there for a reason. It's meant to be disgusting, but the Jack Black one, it's just like, oh my god, it just went on a bit too long for me, and it's just pretty rank. I mean, it's all, taking a satirical look at Hollywood, isn't it? So it's there. It does the job on what it's trying to do to gross you out and like dress up this ridiculous concept, as sort of a comedy. So I think it did its job, but for me, that's why that one would be the worst.
Oh, no, I think I definitely agree with you. I mean, yeah, it drops you in, doesn't it? I love the fact that there's not even any kind of fanfare. It's literally just like, click, Booty Sweats on, isn't it? And it's, I'd like to drink your pussy juice, and like, whoa, you're like, okay, this is the movie. All right, I've got it. This is the level. This is what we're hitting. But Satan's Alley, I think, is something really quite special. That trailer, whatever that music is they've put in the background, I should have looked it up, but it's a famous piece, I think, of some sort of classical music.
It's again though the Gregorian chanting that was really popular, wasn't it, for a long time? I would say more so the 90s. I feel like the sort of late 90s, like you'd have all this kind of Gregorian chanting, and Satan's Alley was good as well. I have to say, it's
just even the title is absolutely
And
another one, like Tobey Maguire stepped in last minute. Supposedly, I don't know who it was. I couldn't find out who the original person was supposed to be, but it was like, oh yeah, I'll do it. I'll come along. That'll be fun.
Yeah, and it's funny because even though I only watched it 2 months ago. And then for this, I've rewatched it. In that short time, I'd still forgotten that Tobey Maguire was in that sort of mock trailer.
Yeah,
but I thought he was brilliantly acted. The pair of them didn't sort of hold back, and so that was a good one. Pure Oscar bait, wasn't it?
Brilliant! Yeah,
that's what you imagine it to be.
There are these moments. I thought this recently when I saw, I think it was a Sky advert with Andrew Garfield in. And he's like appearing in all these different, this is a genuine advert, obviously. He's like appearing in all these different locations that either begins or ends on a train station. I can't quite remember.
Yeah.
And what you just said, I was thinking like, whoa, okay, like Garfield, calm down, mate. Like we all know you're a good actor, but you're in a Sky advert. Like, it felt like he was like immersed in this character. I thought it was hilarious. Like the performance level was outweighing by a long way.
Yeah. But I mean, some of the things, what is it? There's a Audible, and it sets up like as if there's this big, grand Game of Thrones battle or Lord of the Rings or something, and it just turns out someone's hoovering up.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, but when it starts off, it's like, Christ, you've put some budget behind that.
Yeah.
It's Audible. So, yeah, people have just got too much money to spend on adverts these days, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're Amazon and you're Audible, I guess you probably can afford a couple of quid, can't you, on an advert for sure.
Yeah, very true, very true.
Interesting, this comes a couple of years after the Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez Grindhouse as well, because obviously they sort of brought back this sense of kind of fake trailers and that kind of fun, isn't it? They definitely got to be inspired by that, I guess.
I hadn't made that connection, but you're probably right. I wonder, without that, would you have had those fake trailers? I don't know. It's kind of a shorthand way to get you into who the characters are on the screen, isn't it? Because you've got the Jack Black character. He's a bit of a joke. He does really lowbrow sort of comedy. You've got Robert Downey Jr., who's sees himself as fairly highbrow. I don't know. I think it's a nice shorthand way to tell you what all those different characters are from, because it's not like, say, This Is the End, where I don't know if you've seen that one, but every character, like say you got Seth Rogen, and it's Seth Rogen's public persona exaggerated a bit.
Yeah.
And so every sort of person is just like themselves and a bit more. Whereas this one, they are playing, I don't think Robert Downey Jr. is like this Aussie guy who's playing. So I think it is not a bad way, and they could have done it a different way, but maybe it was down to the Tarantino thing, but I did think it was effective. Once I oriented myself and I was like, oh, this is what's going on. Yeah,
no, I agree. It definitely saves you that kind of first act exposition of like, oh, here's that guy, and we have to move away from the main story and all. So then we can just get dropped straight in, can't we? Like Apocalypse Now, Predator style. We're into kind of the war. The helicopters are coming in. The opening scene, if that was a real movie, would actually be really, really good, I think. Like, again, the quality, the budget behind this, I mean, it's 92 million, which, is sizable, but is not ridiculous considering, as you said, all the people that are in it. They must all cost a few quid themselves, unless they're all doing it to scale for the fun. But yeah, that opening is like an actually really well-made war movie.
Yeah, I mean, you could absolutely believe. I think the thing is, in the 80s and less so in the 90s, but they sort of did Vietnam to death, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
So, apart from that, you could have seen it being a real movie. And I guess that they'd have all took a fair chunk out of that 92 million, but it's still quite high budget, isn't it? You think anything north of 50, and you're getting into quite an expensive movie.
Yeah, definitely. And for a comedy movie as well, and there's often that rule, isn't there? Like the bigger the budget, the less the laughs. I think, I'm paraphrasing, but that's kind of a thing that's bandied about often, that the best comedy comes from that rawness and from that struggle. And I'm not sure how I feel about this film. I can't quite. I mean, we'll keep talking as we get into it. I think it has some real highs, and there are some moments when I was sat by myself with it on the TV, cackling. But there are some sequences where I think it does kind of miss the mark a little bit, and it does lull for sections. And I think part of that is because it can't quite decide. Does it want to fully commit to being a complete biting satire, or does it want to have its kind of cake and eat it too and be a kind of fun action comedy movie at the same time? I don't think it can quite settle on either of those things. I don't know if you feel the same.
I definitely felt a lull. And I feel like it dragged quite a lot. So I was saying about the shorthand trailers to get you into, these are who the actors are. But then from that bit to say go into where you've got Steve Coogan and he sort of gets exploded, and then Ben Stiller sort of thinks that, it's all made up and stuff. There's quite a lull just to get to there. And then for me, that's where the movie sort of starts. Then you get the fish out of water stuff, and they have to band together. But then it goes off on a weird sort of tangent with Ben Stiller's character as well. He goes off hunting and then he gets captured, obviously. So, yeah, I think it is lacking a little bit of heart, if I'm honest. I think they've tried, especially with Ben Stiller's arc. And I do think it's an enjoyable watch. It's a lot more enjoyable and less horrendous than I thought it was going to be for all those years. And the fact that it is poking fun at itself, I think McConaughey's role is small, but okay. I think the better cameo is Tom Cruise, to be fair.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised that he was able to poke fun at himself quite so much. He never really strikes me as someone who will have a laugh at himself. There's I think Dan posted recently where Christian Bale, another tie back, we were talking about Dark Knight, but Christian Bale was saying, well, he's based the American Psycho performance from Tom Cruise, because he's being interviewed and he saw him and he was sort of laughing and being charming, but he had those dead eyes, those calculating eyes. And I've always imagined Tom Cruise to be that character. So to actually dress himself up as a balding exec, I think there's maybe a bit of payback in there as well. Maybe that's why he's agreed to do it.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, like a lot of those choices were his as well, in terms of like the oversized hands. Right. And the fact that he breaks out and starts dancing and stuff. I think all of these were kind of Cruise's creative choices that he was pushing. Yeah. And he was like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go there. Like, you've given me the bald head and you give me the hairy chest and the bling. So what's the next stage? Well, the next stage is to dance to rap so yeah, I think once he was there, it sounds like he was really up for it and really just it's again, like in my head, it was hilarious, that stuff. And I think when I first watched it, it was. And I think because for all the reasons you just said, like it's so out of the box, it's so unexpected. For me, though, despite the fact Downey Jr. is in blackface and there's a lot of a use of the word R word, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, later on, it's almost the stuff that's aged the worst now because of all the stuff that's come out since about these kind of characters, about the Weinsteins and about these kind of power producers who really abuse people. So when there's these offhand lines where he's like, you're going to get me this actor in the show, I'm going to rip your tits off. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, probably I laughed at that in 2008, but now I know the sort of things that people were doing. I can't laugh at that anymore. I can laugh at him being silly, but I can't laugh at some of the more abusive, aggressive stuff. That's just not funny now.
Yeah, I guess the context of it's changed, hasn't it? You know, I mean, you could say they brought it into the light. You know, even when no one else was really talking about it, they were like, you know, we're doing this as satire, but this kind of is what it's like. We're not just making up this shit, and we all just saw it as just it's a funny joke, isn't it? But yeah, I didn't really watching it this time again so late after the time. I don't have that snapshot comparison of, you know, how did I watch it before, and you know, in the 2 months I haven't really changed that much about my opinions. So I guess I didn't really see it as something to really laugh at. I just saw it as, you know, an obvious calling out of what it's like. You know, like say, just being exaggerated. Yeah.
And the way he's treating people and swearing, and you know, there are moments like I think the conversation on the phone with Flying Dragon, I think they're called, the group which take Tug Speedman take Ben Stiller's character captive. I think that's quite good. But some of the earlier interactions with McConaughey's character, I don't know, it just felt like I said, like you said, it's all in hindsight with retrospect, and isn't that such a lovely thing? But looking back on that now and thinking about all those things that those people were going through on casting couches and the abuse and all the effects that's had on so many people in their careers, I don't know. I just thought like maybe this is ironically the one for me personally that's a little bit too on the nose. I can take the kind of the other things which are maybe more obviously offensive, but because they are almost kind of Matt, and I always say these people don't come around, it's Matt Stone and Trey Parker, isn't it? Because they're almost kind of like South Park level over the top, were so offensive that we can't really be offensive. I sort of forgive those ones more, or I understand more where that joke is landing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I love Trey Parker and Matt Stone just because they give it to everyone equally. So they can never be accused of being, you know, in this camp or this camp. They just take the piss out of absolutely everyone. So yeah,
including themselves relentlessly, right? Because they're Canadian, aren't they? If I'm right, I think.
I actually don't know if they're Canadian.
But they're, well, okay. If they're not, maybe they do go after Canada a bit too hard.
I thought they were from Colorado.
Are they? Okay, is that why it's set there? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I misunderstood that. You're right. Yeah, American actor. Yeah. Oh, well, so they hate Canadians then. That's the one thing that they really shouldn't do.
It's more a Ryan Reynolds thing, that isn't it? To be
that's true.
About Canada.
Yeah.
Speaking of things who may not age that well, but we'll see in a few years.
Right.
I don't know about you. I just hear these occasional little things about maybe he's not quite the nice chap that he portrays himself to be.
Interesting. Oh, that might be season 12 of Welcome to Wrexham might be a bit different, right?
It could be. I mean, I certainly haven't seen anything, or I think it's with his. What's his name of his wife who's suing the guy
Blake Lively
from the movie Blake Lively, and suing the other guy, and there's a lot of stuff sort of being rumored about that. But
it's not a character
in case I incriminate myself.
Yeah, fair enough. This is all from you, brother. This is all from you. Nothing from me. I'm just
allegedly.
Yeah. It's interesting because I was reading about the Les Grossman character. That is something Cruise is quite proud of, really, that performance and his role in this. And that's the point where there's still talk about it potentially coming back. So there was a spin-off written in 2012, and him and McHugh, so you know, obviously the director that he's been working with on all the latest Mission Impossibles, are still talking supposedly as recently as a couple of years ago about whether they can find a way to make that happen and make it into a movie.
I mean, I wonder how much that would cost, though. You'd imagine every single one of those actors is commanding 4 times what they did for that movie in 2008. So I think
the rumor was it was like a prequel story about like his rise up to his position of power. So I guess that really would be a chance for them to really, really go for it if they wanted to, about how, you know, these kind of people fall upwards and they get there by gaming the system and treating others like shit. And so I don't know whether that's the intention. Obviously, I've not read the script, but I can imagine that might be what they're going for.
I can see it now, you know, origin story where he comes to Hollywood, he's bright-eyed, bushy-tailed and, you know, virtuous, and then gets gradually corrupted by Hollywood through some harsh lessons and a wily old master, you know, who teaches him. I could see it happening. Yeah,
definitely. It's almost like, did you ever watch Entourage?
I didn't actually, no.
Talking of things that haven't aged well,
really?
But the Jeremy Piven character in that, he's an agent, and that has some kind of similarities, I think, as well here to the Les Grossman character.
Right. Yeah, no, I've not seen any. There's things like that, things like Mad Men, which I just kind of missed.
Yeah,
most of the things I remember aging badly are things like Rolf's Cartoon Club.
Yeah, for different reasons, for sure.
Yeah. And what is it? I saw the meme doing the rounds a few months ago. I think it was a 70s thing with like Chewbacca was on there, and there was a kid saying, you know, oh, he says he senses an evil presence, and then it pans to Jimmy Savile. Who could that be then? Oh, it's like, oh my god.
You
talking about things in plain sight.
You mentioned the lull. I think I agree with you. Like, it's a shame because this is when Grossman comes in and when McConaughey's character, the Pecker, comes in. But I agree, it sort of takes a bit too long to get going, and I think perhaps that's because some of the jokes in this section are a little bit too obvious. Maybe. But as soon as Cockburn gets blown up, we've got to talk about the names at some point, I think.
Yeah.
Seeing as Damien Cockburn, or obviously it's Coburn, but how they choose to pronounce it in the movie, gets exploded and they're off on this adventure. I agree. I think this is the strongest section. From about here to the opening of the rescue attempt, I love Downey Jr.'s costume when he first turns up as the Vietnamese farmer, which is just so awful that it's so good. Yeah. Up until I think that section there is really strong, and then I get a bit lost in the action scene at the end. But I think we're agreeing there about that section as being the strongest. It's where all the clever jokes are, where the Al Pacino calling out of Kurt Lazarus's like blackface, all that stuff's happening there. So it's funny, but also it's where it's working hard to make sure you understand why it's making these jokes.
Yeah. No, I do think it is the best bit of it. But again, you tend to think of Robert Downey Jr. with the blackface, but of course he does the whole Asian Oriental thing as well, turning up like Raiden. Like, he probably goes for it in this movie, doesn't he?
He really does, yeah. I mean, it served him well, right? He got an Oscar nomination this year for this movie, which, when you think about that, is absolutely crazy. It's hilarious.
I've seen a lot of people talk about it, and again, I guess there's people I want to say like me, but not like me. So there's people like me who probably never watched it and had the perception about what it was, like that he was literally playing a black character. That was it, and then kind of offended by that. But it wasn't him playing a black character. It was him playing a white character, playing a black character. So that was the...
I'm the dude, playing the dude. Yeah. There's another dude. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, but I wonder if he'd have got the Oscar nomination now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's no chance, is there? Absolutely not. No chance.
I wouldn't have thought so.
No. Yeah, I mean, it's also odd, isn't it? When they do the kind of reveal later on, when he sort of comes out of his, because he stays in character the whole time he's on set, all the way up to the DVD commentary, which I think is a hilarious line of dialogue. When he comes out of character and he's sort of broken out of it, and he's kind of half depigmentation. I can't remember what the line is. He's had a pigmentation alteration or something. Again, really fun writing in terms of the language they use. That's almost just as weird as well, seeing him with blonde hair and blue eyes.
Like striking blue eyes, though. Like not just blue eyes, but like I don't know, like he's some sort of alien or something.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. The whole thing about the aura of him, and I don't know if you read the same thing about who he based his kind of performance on, like that he did like an amalgamation of 3 actors. I think it does. I do think his character, I think the Cat Lazarus stuff really works for me. I think it really does know what it's doing. And I think the fact that, the character that's in it, Brandon T. Jackson's Al Pacino, wonderful name. I think the fact that he keeps calling him out.
Yeah.
There's the moment when he says, what do you mean, you people? And then he turns around and looks at him and he's like, what do you mean, you people? Like, all these kind of moments are so well timed that they're funny, but also you're like, yeah, okay, they really do get what they're doing. This really is purposeful. So I think that does work for me all the way through, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I like I say, watching it now in 2025, I can appreciate it for what it is. And yeah, he's just a great actor, isn't he? I mean, again, we talk about just a general great year for movies, but for him, you know, how significant was 2008? Because there was obviously this, but Iron Man as well completely turned him around. He was kind of almost like the last chance saloon in Hollywood, wasn't he?
Definitely, yeah. A couple of years before, when he was in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Val Kilmer,
a great movie.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I'm in total agreement with you there. But the fact that getting those 2 together, Shane Black was adamant, and the production company were like, "No, thank you. These 2 together on set, like they're both practically uninsurable." Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it, to see that big turnaround for him?
Yeah.
And it's really interesting for him to be playing next to Jack Black. He's playing like a drug-addled, problematic actor. Like, I wonder how much was that kind of him art imitating life there for him, like seeing that in the movie.
You know, it's funny with Jack Black because, I mean, he's, I think later on where he's, like you say, that scene where you've got Robert Downey Jr. dressed up like Raiden, you know, and he's pretending that he's captured Jack Black. You've got Jack Black pretty much in his underpants. And you sort of think he's like Hollywood fat, isn't he? Because he's not massive at this stage at all. He's just bigger than someone in Hollywood. I think that surprised me, actually. That, you know, again, watching this, it's only in comparison to all these specimens who've got like 8% body fat or something that he looks like a bigger bloke. And probably, I was to stand next to him, he wouldn't look that big.
Yeah. I guess the fact that when we've seen him before, he's in all these big fat suits as well, kind of Norbit or
that's true, actually.
What was that? I don't think I've ever seen it. What is the Eddie Murphy movies when he's playing all the different family members?
Oh, I don't know, but it's around
the Flump. I don't know, but the Clumps.
It's something like the Flumps or
the Clumps. Yeah, I've never watched any of those, but it's all the fat suit stuff, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
I think, you know, I know people have opinions on Jack Black, and I think when he's good, he's hilarious. I think he's probably the least interesting character of the ensemble in this one. I don't know if you feel the same.
Yeah, I think so. I think he just plays like a drug addict, basically, doesn't he? He plays, like, say, his Hollywood persona is someone who just does all this lowbrow stuff, and then just absolutely, you know, rabid for drugs.
Yeah.
So he's sort of like a one-note character, really, isn't it? There's no layers there at all. There's nothing interesting about the character.
That's absolutely right. I hadn't thought of it with that description, but the fact that, like you said, there's no kind of, I mean, growth is not quite the right word, but there's no kind of arc for the character. Like, Cloak Lazarus has an arc. Tug Speedman has an arc. His just, you're right. It just stays the same, doesn't it, all the way through? He doesn't really have any change by the end of the movie as such, does he?
I mean, you could say even sort of Rick Peck.
Yeah,
Well, McConaughey has a little bit of one, doesn't he? Because he turns up right at the end with the TiVo, whereas before you're almost thinking the agent's just bleeding off the or creaming off the profits. So it's a one-way relationship, whereas, you know, he does actually turn up right at the end.
What did you think of that? Like, I can never say this word, Deus Ex Machina, like that kind of like moment when he appears in the jungle. As you said, he throws the TiVo up and stops the bazooka blast going and getting them all.
Yeah. I mean, I I don't know quite how I feel about it because for me, most of the movie is ridiculous, but it's like an elastic band. So it's obviously not real life, and then you just stretch that believability a bit, and you make everything a bit more ridiculous. You know, the fact that you've got Ben Stiller's character, Tug Speedman there, and he's done one good movie. It's almost like Rambo, isn't it? And then he's done all these sequels after. And then, but he's a shitty actor. He can't cry on cue or anything. So,
remember any of his lines or anything? Yeah.
You sort of take that believability and stretch it a bit. But the fact that you'd have an agent just turning up in the middle of the jungle in the exact right place with a TiVo and just happens to throw, for me, it just snapped the elastic band there. It was just a bit too far the other way to. But, like I say, it was an arc.
Yeah.
And I think unfortunately, had it been Owen Wilson, because you've basically got those two characters, like Zoolander and all sorts, you're used to seeing them as a pair, aren't you? So for me, in that moment, had it been Owen Wilson, and obviously when they're writing the script, they've got him in mind, I feel like it would have made a little bit more sense because they are always, a pairing, and you've got that pre-movie history with these actors and / characters. Whereas, it just took me out a bit when he turned up.
Yeah, that's fascinating. You'd buy it more because you're bringing on all your kind of your
baggage.
Yeah, your baggage. You've been through Starsky and Hutch with him, and you've been through, as you said, Zoolander with them, and you're right, absolutely. Yeah, it would have worked much better. Yeah, I'm really, because I'm with you. I'm not a fan. Just to use the phrase, it defies logic, seems kind of stupid because this movie, but it is the moment which really jolts me out too. I'm just like, oh, that's a bit too stupid.
It's too far, isn't it?
Yeah, I wanted something where like the bazooka. I don't know what you call it. The bazooka missile, is that the right word? I don't know. Goes through the helicopter. Do you know what I mean? Like through the gap.
Something
happens, and I get the funness of it. But I'm with you in terms of like a character going to those lengths, being an agent doesn't make sense, and because we haven't had enough time to understand his dedication to Tug, it's just too hard to buy it, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
It's a shame because I think he's fun in the role. I think he's having fun. I think it's around this time where he's finding it to be work. Like he's turning up and acting his work right now. He's not kind of enjoying his craft too much. So hopefully this was a bit of a break for him where he could turn up and just have a bit of a laugh. And I think the fun comes through in his interactions with people.
Yeah, and I don't know who posted it, but I was watching the interview with him where he was talking about being offered an action role. And I was trying to think, I wonder where that was. Do you know where that would have been in his career? Because he was talking about, potentially having to give up acting and going back and being a teacher or something like that. So I thought, well, it must be fairly early on. But then he was offered something like 14.3 million or something, or 14.5 million to do an action movie, and he turned it down.
So he talks about in his book. It's been a while since I've been able to read anything from his book because this is kind of a period he's not really writing about. But he talks about it in his book as well. But he never ever says what the part or the movie is in any interviews, which I think is quite classy, to be fair.
Yeah.
But he has a couple of years off, so he does nothing is released anyway between 2009 and 2011, which means we know actually he's not working at least from 2008, if not a bit.
Yeah.
Depending on when in 2008, because that was the period when he just went, it doesn't matter what you offer me. If it's a rom-com, if it's this kind of, I guess, Sahara Fool's Gold type role, I'm not interested. And he stood by his guns. Like, really fascinating that he did it, and obviously paid dividends in the end. It could have backfired massively. But so no, I don't know. I'd love to know what the role was and what the film was that he kept turning down.
Yeah, I was more intrigued about the time in his acting career because I was thinking, I was thinking it must have been pre-Fool's Gold.
No. So it's a couple. It's basically I've got a couple to go after this, and then we hit that break.
That lean spell.
And then that's the lean spell when he's just doing nothing. And then he gets the Lincoln Lawyer and he's like, now this is the sort of thing I've been after. And then suddenly we get Dallas Buyers Club and True Detective. Then this next stage of his career kicks off. So
right.
The reconnaissance, right? So no, it's kind of halfway through, really. I've just got, this is my first episode past halfway in terms of numerical films on his filmography. So this is episode number 27, and he's currently got 52 movies out for release that you can watch. He's got two coming out very soon this year. So it'll put me up to 54, obviously. But yeah, so we're literally at the halfway point, and he's just getting burnt out.
Right. I wasn't sure if it was just he absolutely loved doing the rom-coms or whatever genre it was. He just wasn't into action movies, but that would make more sense if he just felt like he needed a break. And he might have been in a tough spot as well. It might not have been just getting enjoyment out of it or just not getting the roles that he wanted. But can you imagine? I can't imagine there are many things on this planet I wouldn't do for 14.5 million. I've got to say, balls out the window.
Yeah. And I'm sure he looks back on it and thinks it was such a big risk. I think he'd had his first child around this point as well. So obviously, he needed to be thinking about maintaining his lifestyle. I mean, he's probably got enough money by this point anyway, but maintaining a kind of lifestyle that he'd been used to and wanting to have a secure future for the start of his family. But all props to him. Yeah, it was the rom-coms that burnt him out, according to sort of the book and his own reports of he just felt like he was coasting and he wasn't being pushed, and he was, like I say, it became a job. It didn't become something that he felt he was getting anything out of anymore. He didn't feel like he was growing and he wasn't performing, and which is why he kicked it on the head for a little while.
Right. I obviously took the wrong message from it. I thought he was wanting to stick to the rom-coms, but that makes much more sense that he was just doing these same kind of beige roles that weren't really stretching him much as an actor. So I think he started off thinking he was going to be Kurt Lazarus, right? He thought he was going to be a 5-time Oscar winner, Kurt Lazarus in Satan's Alley. He gets that, so it's okay. He's not got 5 Oscars, but he does get his Oscar, and he does get some really juicy roles down the line for sure. Yeah.
So he has a couple of scenes, doesn't he, with Cruise, and we sort of touched upon that earlier, which I think are quite interesting. I don't know, I can't think of, Cruise is somebody I know, I think you've been able to put across how you feel about him quite succinctly as in the discussion tonight. He is somebody that I've watched his whole filmography just for fun previously, before podcasting was an adventure for me, my own adventure. It was something Emma and I did when we were first together, actually, because there were quite a few of his films which we bonded over when we were getting to know each other. So yeah, we did it as a couple. We watched all of his filmography. Wow.
I mean, so someone like McConaughey, I always think he's smart. You obviously started with Statham and McConaughey. These not top A-listers, but some interesting careers. Not someone who sort of burst onto the scene and just stayed there. Tom Cruise, you go back to the likes of Risky Business and stuff like that. He was star quality from very early on, wasn't he? And I can't imagine that. I'm sure I could find out with a few clicks, but yeah, Tom Cruise, going through Tom Cruise's filmography, that must have took a while, because he's been around for ages. And
he has, but he's not got as many as you think. He's actually got less on his filmography than McConaughey.
So I'm just looking now, 53 according to IMDb.
Yeah, so the same number as McConaughey, yeah. And you think how much longer he's been around for. He's been a bit more selective, I think, at times. And he's had these periods where he's, gone off and been developing stuff, and it's taken a bit longer. And yeah, it was quite interesting. There wasn't as many as you would have thought.
Yeah, I mean, I I'm actually shocked by that. I just assumed it would be more because, like you say, you've got all the 80s stuff. I mentioned Risky Business. You've got Top Gun, Cocktail, things like that. And, I just assumed it'd be sort of
like one a year non-stop. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not at all. I just wondered if you thought that maybe that was part of the draw for McConaughey, knowing that he was going to get a couple of scenes with him as well. Probably before he realised what kind of scenes he was going to get.
Yeah.
But maybe that made it even more fun. I don't know.
I mean, I guess I have no idea, but I mean, if you're an actor who's called up late for a role because something unfortunate is, these films take ages to put together, don't they? So years, and especially if a part is written for someone and everything leading up to the moment, you've got all of the things planned and everything, all the scenes, exactly where everyone's going to be. And if you're called up late, I imagine there's a fair premium with that as well. I'm not saying he took the role for money, but I'd imagine he'd have been paid a pretty penny for that. But yeah, I think, again, trying to get into that headspace, because he's not a huge actor at this point. If you rattle off some of the names, that's going to be in there. I mean, we were saying about Downey Jr.'s turnaround year being this one, 2008, but he was still a kind of household name, wasn't he? He was still very much in the A-list. He was just, sort of discarded a bit. And then you've got Tom Cruise. I mean, they don't come much bigger, do they? Maybe you could get Stallone and Arnie in or something, but, that'd make it a bigger draw. But yeah, I can imagine if you're someone not aspiring, because like say he's been headline on some of the movies, but yeah, it must have been a big draw, and I imagine it was a lot of fun. I just, Tom Cruise doesn't strike me as someone fun, but it does genuinely look like he's having fun in this role, and so to kind of bounce off him in that mode must have been an experience.
Well, because Cruise and Stiller, I assume, got on because it was a couple of years before, wasn't it, when they did the kind of MTV Movie Awards. They were doing I don't know if you've ever seen it. So Ben Stiller's playing his stunt double for Mission Impossible 2, I think it must be.
Oh, I have seen that. Yeah,
really funny where like Cruise is just totally like dismissing him and not interested, and Ben Stiller's stunt double absolutely adores him and loves him. So I assume they got on, which is how this kind of came about as well.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of being set up and ready with these connections, isn't it? So, but I do like what you said as well, that McConaughey comes in, he probably thought it'd be fun, and it is fun, and I think he's good in the role. But it is quite telling that it's a role he stepped into rather than it's a role that's been written for him. Whereas probably the rest of them feel like they're roles which are tailor-made for Downey Jr. They're tailor-made for Jack Black. They're tailor-made for probably not for Cruise, really, to be honest. But some of these other roles feel like they're written for them and they're perfect for their personalities on screen, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. And I guess I think McConaughey does a decent job, but if you were to take his scenes out of the movie and ignoring the whole, bit at the end with the, what did we settle on, a bazooka missile or whatever it is?
Yeah, projectile.
Anyone could have done that.
Yeah.
You didn't really need that arc, I don't think.
No.
Again, if it was Owen Wilson, you've got that whole history of him and Ben Stiller, so maybe that would have added it. But I think there was just so much going on with that ensemble cast. You've got enough to be entertained with, and so a little bit of a throwaway character to say.
Yeah, it's a shame. Almost takes this is where maybe like these moments take away from that satire a little bit. Like this now feels celebratory of Hollywood and agents and actors and their connections.
Yeah.
Whereas it should be a bit more. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm formulating that quite right in my head and I'm saying it right. But there are those moments where I feel like perhaps it feels like a bit of a misstep, perhaps.
Yeah. So I think you're right. Actually, I hadn't thought about it that way. But I mean the agent move. The parody or the satire thing to do would be surely for him to go and, I don't know, try and make some money off him or something, or from the people kidnapping him.
Which is what Grossman asked him to do, doesn't he? He says, there's that whole interaction when he's like, you want me to give up my client and let him die for money and for a jet? So you do get that scene, don't you? So I guess that's where they're trying to be subversive, isn't it? That an agent would normally say yes, but no, he's going to be the good guy. But so I interrupt you, but I don't know if it quite works for me.
No, I don't know. I guess even though it's a comedy and it's all satirical, I guess they do get a bit confused about whether they just want it to be this heroic rescue mission. Mm-hmm. I do like the ridiculousness. Again, I talk about the believability being stretched a bit too far, but when you got Ben Stiller sort of running away and you've got the little
God
stabbing him. I mean,
it's your adopted son,
just it's not so much when you've got like the CGI baby on his back, but when he chucks what is clearly a doll, you just got that old school practical effects, nonsense look like it's something off the Young Ones. I did enjoy that. I'm
so glad you brought it up. I absolutely love this kind of I don't know what you call it, like mannequin doll work. When we did The Beekeeper, the Jason Statham's last movies, there's one scene in that where it's very clearly like this kind of doll being thrown. I love it. It's like squibs, right? It feels like proper filmmaking. Like I don't want CGI blood. I want squibs going off. It's brilliant, and they've done it on purpose, clearly, haven't they, to be ironic and to satirize movie making of this type at that time.
Yeah.
But it hits that perfect sweet spot for me, that moment. I think it's just a perfectly pitched moment. Spiraled in through the air. So good, like fixed arms and legs. Yeah.
And you see that he's okay after as well. He's just a bit sad that his adopted daddy has run off.
Yeah. So something we've got to go there. I think we've got to talk about the R word conversation. Does that pitch it right? Does that get it right, do you think? We have the whole conversation where we're talking about Simple Jack, which I'll be honest, if that existed as a movie, that would be my next pick for VHS.
Yeah.
I'd love to get you guys to watch that. We have the conversation about going full R. It's the one word for some reason I don't feel that comfortable saying. It really is the one which feels really it shouldn't be in kind of the consciousness of popular culture anymore, or discourse, I don't think. But they managed to talk about it in a way, I'll see if you agree, where I think, again, they're being subversive and clever about the lengths actors would go to in order to win awards, much like in the way that the Kate Winslet character in Extras does in the Ricky Gervais show.
So good.
I don't know. What did you think? Do you think we said they probably I think we said they get away with the blackface stuff, aren't we? Because I think they know what they're doing, and
I think so. I mean, it's not for me to say, but I've seen other people of color talk about it and say, almost defend it.
And they screened it to the NAACP as well, before it came out, because they wanted to get their opinion on it, and they were like, "Actually, we see what you're doing here.
Yeah,
it's on the edge, but we see what you're doing here. Like, we think this is actually okay." But the whole conversation about the character he plays in Simple Jack and going full R. What did you think of that?
So I kind of forgave it, and I thought it was. So to me, obviously, you've probably heard me talk many, many times about how much I still love The Office. And Chris, honestly, he'll send me through the week, just random clips from The Office and stuff. And for me, the great thing about the character of David Brent is he almost gets it right. He sometimes comes out with things and you're like, oh, that seems quite profound. But then he just sort of misses it.
Undercuts himself,
and for me, you actually compare the character of Lazarus, doing the whole what was it called, the Devil's Alley,
Satan's Alley,
Satan's Alley. You've got that character, and he's obviously an Oscar bait type movie. He's being a full actor, whereas you've got Ben Stiller, Tug Speedman,
and
he's just getting it wrong. He just doesn't really have the same talent that Downey Jr. has, but he's trying. So, I mean, my interpretation of it was, in his head, in this actor's head, he's thinking, oh, this is my Oscar bait movie. This is the thing where I'm going to go and I'm going to show my acting chops. But then he's just got it wrong, like David Brentwood. And so that's why I kind of forgave it. Again, if you made it now, they'd probably maybe rephrase how they're talking about it and referring to it. But I could, or at least in my mind, in my head canon, as Mike Burton likes to say, that's kind of how I interpreted it.
No, I think that's fair. And I think the things they reference as well are clever in that these callbacks, Rain Man, Forrest Gump, I Am Sam, these kind of other movies that they call back to other actors that have done it at times in order to, it feels like, secure awards and generally been successful, let's be honest, in all these performances. Is
it Forrest Gump that you and Mike really don't get on?
It is, yeah.
I'll not get on with. I'll agree with. That's it.
Yeah, Mike loves it. I hate it.
And is it for the same reason? Is it because he leans a bit too much into?
I just find it very, very contrived. I think the whole thing is, jingoistic and contrived, and I think it's begging for attention. It's too showy. It's too look at me, and I can't do it. It is, yeah. I mean, Stiller's. I don't know if you've read any of the stuff about Stiller after. It's like he's got no apologies to make. So I know it's really interesting. He said that if they filmed it now, maybe they would reframe it. They probably wouldn't use that word, to be fair.
Yeah, and that's what I mean about just softening that a little bit.
Yeah, but I've got his quote. He says, "I think it's really clear that they were making fun of the actors and actors who tried to use serious subjects to win awards." So he's got no apologies. And in fact, I don't know if it was it sort of hit one of those things which hit the zeitgeist for a little while a couple of years ago. It was people are talking about Tropic Thunder again.
Right.
And he came out and he defended it. He just said, I've got no apologies. I think it's a good movie. I'm proud of what we did. I think the comments we made, I still stand by them. He was understanding why people might want to find things to criticize, but he was happy to say no, but we knew what we were doing when we were making it. So I don't feel like I need to backtrack. I don't need to apologize. It wasn't a mistake in the moment. It was all deliberate.
Yeah.
So I quite like that. I quite like that he's willing to stand by his art and that it's what he meant to do, and it's up to you how you take that. But it's the film he wanted to make.
Yeah. I mean, when you make stuff like Dodgeball as well, you'd get fed up of defending everything, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I was going to talk about Dodgeball, actually. So let's do that at this point, because it feels like this fits into that world, doesn't it? He's kind of got what I would call his doofus trilogy. You've got Zoolander, Dodgeball, and this.
Yeah,
he's always playing these kind of doofusy characters who have somehow got into this position of success generally, because obviously I can't remember what his character's name is in Dodgeball anymore, but he's running the Blazer Laser team, isn't he? Gazer, Blazer, Laser. So good. Where do you think this stands in terms of his... Yeah. You made me bleed my own blood. Yeah. Where do you think this stands in the kind of doofus trilogy?
So what was it? This one, Dodgeball,
Zoolander.
And Zoolander. So, I mean, I feel like Zoolander, when I was watching it, was not actually that funny.
Interesting.
But it's certainly memeable. It's almost like American Psycho. How many, if you go on any kind of social media platform, you're not there for too long before you'll see an American Psycho meme.
Yeah.
And it feels like Zoolander, it's got some iconic moments, about being incredibly good looking, and you got the blue steel look and all. There's some iconic bits in it, but I don't think it's that funny. More iconic than funny, I would say. So I think probably a Dodgeball leaned into the silliness a little bit more. I think I would say Tropic Thunder is the best out of those three, just because it leans into the satire more than the silly. And like I say, I don't think it's the cleverest of satire, but at least it's poking fun at itself a little bit.
Yeah, and fits, coming back to this, fits that kind of, it's more in that mold of kind of uncomfortable cringe comedy, isn't it? Rather than the broad, perhaps you could put something like Zoolander and Dodgeball into it. It's a much more broad style, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Looking at some of I've got a few of the lines written down that are in this. So definitely that kind of pushing you to the edge whether you don't know whether you should laugh or not. But I think the one which got me the most when I was watching this the other night was when I think it's when Tug and Kirk are arguing about whether they should what they should do. There's the map and the argument, and let's move forwards. And Tug says something like, "This is my unit," and then Kirk Lazarus turns around and he's like, "Suck my unit." I don't know what it was about that moment. It's the delivery and the facial expression that Downey Jr. puts on. I was just gone for a couple of minutes. I was just totally gone. And then they follow that up really closely because they separate, and they follow up really closely with the kind of animal attack. And I had totally forgotten about the payoff. And the payoff is wonderful, I think, when you find out that it's a panda. Yeah. The look on his face. And then you think back to the earlier conversation with McConaughey's agent, and you've got him posing with the panda on the back of Hollywood magazine. And then you still get the joke keeps going when he's wearing the panda as a hat in the next scene.
Like a native or something.
yeah. That little kind of sequence again, I think, is really, really cleverly done. And that sort of 5 minutes, I was totally in, and everything was making me laugh.
Yeah, you know what? It's interesting you say about Downey Jr. though, and I think actually just bringing me mentally there, you were mentioning about the trilogy. You got Zoolander and Dodgeball. I'm not sure what Ben Stiller's range is. It seems to have a fairly narrow range. And actually, Downey Jr., for me, he's such a better actor than pretty much everyone else in this movie. Maybe Tom Cruise aside, but he's not really in any scenes directly with him. But actually, I guess, I don't know, is it intentional that they're leaning into, especially when, Ben Stiller's got no hands and, near the beginning and he can't cry or anything. But actually, even away from the obvious stuff that they're trying to tell us, I think it's just so obvious that Downey Jr. is just so much better. It's like, say, Stiller, he always does. It's like some sort of version of Mr. Furious out of Mystery Men.
Yeah, it's true. He plays the same character in Friends for an episode, of course, as well, doesn't he?
Yeah. So, whereas Downey Jr. is like, again, he's playing this Australian, almost thespian, stuck-up actor playing another role, as the black guy, and then playing the Raiden sort of farmer or whatever. So, I hadn't really thought about it until we came to this conversation, but he does stand out in this cast, I think.
He definitely does. And I think, again, he was given some leeway. He was doing quite a lot of improv. But I think that says a lot about Stiller as well, that this is kind of something he's nurtured. I think this took quite a long time, I think, to get to the place where he was happy to actually make it. Like, he'd had the idea a long time before. Initially, it was going to be like a boot camp movie, all set at boot camp.
Right.
But then it became like, this kind of Apocalypse Now Platoon-esque story instead. So for him to kind of step back and let somebody else be the star, I think is quite... that says a lot about him as a character and his art, that the art matters more than him being the star does. Considering he's playing a version of Stallone, that's really quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
A man who could probably have done with learning that a bit earlier in his career.
Yeah. And we say about Kate Winslet in Extras. I mean, Ben Stiller was in Extras as well.
Of course he was. Yeah. Quite early. Quite first episode?
I think it was the first episode. Yeah, he's another sort of parody of himself, isn't he?
Yeah. But you're right. Downey Jr. just is a cut above, and I think the way you put that there, that terms of layering, is something I really enjoy when you can see actors doing that. you can see them. It's like when you see somebody you know can sing performing as a person who can't sing, and you're like, oh, that's really clever. Like I can see the layering because they're having to work hard not to sing properly. Well, Downey Jr. is having to work hard not to be a good actor, playing an actor. There's so much going on there. The fact he's able to do it is so impressive.
Yeah, you know, I recorded something with Spider Dan a couple of months ago now. We did a Jackie Chan double bill, and it's such a trope. I mean, I love those not early, but 70s Hong Kong kung fu movies. I just love them, but it's always the same trope. You know, you got someone like Jackie Chan, and at the start of the movie, you're supposed to believe that he hasn't done any training. You know, he's ripped to within an inch of his life, and it's like, oh yeah, he's just a cleaner or something. And through the movie, he learns kung fu and can do all these amazing things by the end. But yeah, that's where they don't necessarily pull it off. But you know, here it's done a bit better. I was just looking at it. See, one of the writers is Justin Theroux. I hadn't realised.
Yeah, I think they're good friends. He was obviously in Zoolander with him as well, and I think it was another case of him like saying, "This is the idea. It's got to this point. I need a new voice on this. Can you come in and try and help me kind of finish this off?" I watched a behind the scenes like mockumentary called Reign of Madness, obviously playing on the Heart of Darkness. Apocalypse Now. It was okay, but it was Justin Theroux actually playing like a Werner Herzog style documentarian, doing a behind the scenes of the making of Tropic Thunder. Again, like layer upon layer, of course, because it's the real movie within the fictional movie. Now it's a mockumentary of that. So, yeah, it's an interesting one for him. It doesn't really fit on his career, does it? In terms of what he's normally involved with as such, particularly as a writer. I don't know. I think he's done a couple of bits as a writer, but not kind of this style of comedy.
No, I was just trying to look through then. But he's got a lot of things that he's sort of starred in.
Another guy, actually, I think he's really versatile. I think he's probably not quite had the career that perhaps his talent deserved. He's probably quite happy. Do you know what I mean? He's entirely successful in his own right. But I think perhaps he's another one who really can be quite a chameleon and quite like pull off quite a lot of different things, quite a lot of different roles.
Yeah,
I was trying to say chameleonic then, and that's what that pause was. I was like, that's not a word, is it? I'm sure.
It feels like it should be, though. I like that. Chameleonic. I think, yeah.
We'll claim it as ours.
Chameleonic.
Good point, actually. Yeah. Maybe we don't want that under our names.
Apart from that, it'd be a really cool new word.
Yeah. So speaking of a chameleon, so just to wrap up, so that's who the three people that Downey Jr. based his Kirk Lazarus off. See if you can guess who there's three actors that he combined to make into being Kirk Lazarus.
Oh, my mind's completely blank.
One's Australian. That could probably help.
I mean, well, my mind went Hugh Jackman, but that's because there's something else I'm covering at the minute. It's got to be Mel Gibson.
I mean, interesting. I can see why you'd say that, but another Australian actor who takes himself too seriously, perhaps.
Oh, Russell Crowe?
Correct. So Russell Crowe is one. A very method actor who has since retired, who would be happy to go and be a cobbler for a while and happy to go and do all these things in order to make sure he really gets under the skin of his characters.
I want to say, who's the guy who did Joker? Not Jared Leto.
Oh no, not Jared Leto. But actually, probably if he was in it now, it'd probably be Jared Leto. No, Daniel Day-Lewis is one he used.
Oh yes, that's a good one to angle to. Another, My Left Foot was his Oscar performance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then the third one's a bit out the left field, so I don't know. I won't even bother getting you to guess. He said also Colin Farrell was another actor that he drew upon in order to create Kirk Lazarus. Whether they knew each other in real life or whether, and he didn't like them, I don't know.
Colin Farrell, what was that from his his performance in the 2003 Daredevil as Bullseye.
Well, I was going to say he was really on the up at this point, wasn't he? He was pretty fresh and new at this point.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. When did Horrible Bosses come out? Because he sort of did what Tom Cruise did, didn't he?
Yeah, that's got to be after this.
Golden hair. Because I feel like that's about 2010 or something.
Yeah, because even things like Minority Report were mid 2000s, weren't they? So Colin Farrell really was sort of becoming a star at this point.
Yeah. So Horrible Bosses was 2011.
Now, he was in a war movie, which is excellent, actually, really underrated, called Tigerland. So I don't know whether it's specifically that movie, maybe. Because that came.
Sure. He was in phone booth as well, I guess.
Yeah. But he is another guy who takes his craft very seriously. So maybe that's sort of what he's referring to, I guess.
Yeah.
He does a lot of accent work and really gets into the characters he's playing. And yeah, I thought they were quite an interesting trio that he drew up on there. I can see the Russell Crowe, obviously, for sure.
Yeah.
I understand Daniel Day-Lewis, but Farrell was one a bit out of left field.
Yeah, he was talking about South Park earlier, and I always remember the one he did about fighting around the world, because he was just getting into fights with everyone. I think it was that post kind of Gladiator time when he was like quite a hot property, but obviously very difficult to work with. Yeah,
and that had a big effect in the end, didn't it, for him? Unfortunately.
Yeah, well, don't know, if you're a dick to people, what goes around comes around.
Well, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, in terms of like what we should have got from him, probably.
Yes, yeah, no, that's true.
Because never really got back up to those highs of those quality performances again. I don't think.
No, you don't think in Thor: Love and Thunder?
Oh, crikey! Or The Mummy with Tom Cruise? No, I don't. All right, let's wrap up then. One last question for you. Yep. Who has got the best character name in this movie? There's some crackers. What do you reckon is the best character name?
I mean, I do like what's Ben Stiller's Tug Speedman. I do like that one. What we got? Jeff.
Initially, he wanted Keanu Reeves as well. So again, I imagine Keanu Reeves playing Tug Speedman. I mean, that is beautiful.
And what was his Toy Story name? The Evil Knievel character.
Yeah.
That's another cracking name.
Yeah, I can't think what it is now either, but you're right. It was so perfectly pitched, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Duke Kaboom, was it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that feels right, yeah.
So Damien Cockburn, Kevin Sandusky. I'm gonna have to go. I mean, Tug Speedman. I think that's my favourite.
Yeah, fair. This is a good shout.
What about you?
I can't look past Al Pacino. I just think it's genius because the way they say it, of course, it's just the way it flows off the tongue is Al.
Yeah.
But when you see it written down and stuff, I think it's very, very clever. But all the way down to like small characters like Bill Hader's assistant. It's called like Rob Slolum and like Danny McBride's character. I love Danny McBride. Yeah. He's like explosive expert, and all these people that are just in it in small roles have all sort of they make their mark, don't they?
Yeah, and you were saying about the budget and about how good it looked, but that first moment where it's supposed to be where the director's really balls up, Cockburn's really balls up, and all the explosion goes off. It looked amazing. I mean, that must have cost quite a lot of money.
Yeah. I imagine it did. Yeah, absolutely. That features in that fake documentary I was talking about, and there's some numbers being bandied about, and I wonder if some of that is actually true. I wonder if they're just using the true cost of this cost 14 million and all this kind of stuff. Probably not that much, but I wonder if there's just some truth. They're using the truth in order to make the mockumentary would be fun.
Yeah, no, I've no idea what the budget for something like that would be, and obviously it's not. I think probably when you're making explosions in a like city scene or something like that, there's probably a lot more things to think about, lots of things to go wrong. Whereas you're bombing a bunch of trees, maybe it's not quite as many things to think about. But yeah, just there are a lot of pyrotechnics going off.
The joke they make in the mockumentary is about the idea that it's protected land, and he's really proud of the fact that they're blowing up protected land. Like, yeah, they thought they had it protected, but look what I've gone and done. Yeah. Good old Danny McBride. Yeah. Another guy who has one character, but boy, I like seeing that character on screen.
Yeah, I mean, I do love This Is the End. He's got a good sort of character in there where he goes full on cannibal, really, with Channing Tatum.
If you're going to eat somebody, I mean, I bet Channing Tatum's pretty tasty to be.
Yeah, he seemed to be.
For our guy McConaughey, though, what do you think? Is this a vital movie to see? Is this like complete? Is this classic? God, can't even get my own words out now. Is this a classic? Is it worth catching because it's fun and he's got like a nice enough role in it, or because it's really only a 16-minute cameo? Is it just for completists only?
I think if it's what was the second one?
Worth catching.
See, that's a tough one because I think the film on its own is worth catching. Just McConaughey happens to be in it.
Yeah.
So if you were a McConaughey fan and you were being a completionist, definitely you should watch it then. But I think there's enough fun in the rest of the movie as well. So I'll probably put it in that middle category. But if you're looking specifically for a McConaughey fix, then this probably isn't doing enough.
Yeah.
Just for his role and his little cameo there. Although, what was that first one that we did where I couldn't even spot him? It was something like his second movie.
Oh, my Lord. Yeah. My Boyfriend's Back.
That's the one.
Yeah.
So, definitely up the ladder from that one.
Yeah. We need to get you a film where actually like he's got a starring role. We're going to have to find one for you at some point, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, I just missed Fool's Gold, haven't I? So, I mean, that was... that was the one. But I do have another one at some point coming up, don't I? Not for another couple of years.
Yeah, hopefully not in real time. Hopefully in kind of movie in past filmography history time.
Yeah, no, and we were talking about how this, because I don't want to spoil it, but how this movie starts off is fairly in your face.
Yeah,
and the other movie that we've got also starts off with a very much in your face opening.
Yes, that's true. I've only seen that movie once.
So really?
Looking forward to watching it again. Yeah, obviously, talking of memeable moments from movies, I've seen parts of that movie lots of times, but all the way through, I've only seen it once. So I'm really looking forward to getting there. And then that we're deep in, like quality reconnaissance territory when we get there.
No, I love it. I can't wait to get to that one.
Superb. Thank you so much, mate. I appreciate your time.
No, it's good. A really good chat as always. And like I say, it had me thinking about a few different things about the movie. And really good chat. Yeah,
I appreciate it. And I know you guys often don't announce, obviously, in VHS what's coming up, but lots of quality stuff going on. We're in the year of the stitch up, as you said. So we've all been having a bit of fun. Sometimes it backfires. Unfortunately, mine backfired. Although I'm really glad.
Remind me, we've done so much shit.
I picked the Raiders adaptation.
Oh, of course, yeah. So, no, but that I mean, I think it was the story more so than the actual movie, wasn't it? And and obviously we ended up getting one of the main guys reaching out, so that was
that's awesome.
That was good fun. But I guess. We're going to plug anything. So like you say, in the year of the stitch up, we're coming up to October. So that's going to be our Halloween season. We didn't really do it so much last year, but I tried to encourage people who were making different picks to pick something Halloween. So I think, is this coming out next week?
This will be out. Into October. So this will be out on the 6th. 6th of October.
Okay, so we'll have just released a review of a little-known movie called Mr. Ice Cream Man.
Oh, okay.
which is all there in its glory on YouTube if you care to watch it, and that probably says all you need to know about it. But yeah, and then we've got a few things coming out after that, but I'll let them kind of be announced as they're coming out.
It's good fun getting the reveal often, isn't it? Because particularly this year, when everyone is doing their best to outdo each other and find the ways to inflict the most pain and suffering upon one.
Yeah, I mean, I think for this year in particular, I'd quite like to just do a little bonus episode or something, and almost like rank the stitch ups or something. Mm-hmm. But I think we might have seen the stitch up of stitch up with Kent's. I mean, weirdly. So this one is out, but we did this 1965 movie by Andy Warhol, which is just a straight shot of the Empire State Building for 8 hours, and he couldn't even be asked to film it for 8 hours because he did it for 6.5 and stretched it out to 8. So it's a slow-mo still shot where nothing happens for 8 hours. And weirdly, Chris came out with this utmost respect for Andy Warhol and just the absolute brass balls on the guy to sell this shit, and I think he respects the hustle, but I think it's going to be hard to beat that one.
Yeah. I mean, that is a smart move, putting you guys through, just the concept alone, plus the time scale. Very shrewd, very smart.
I mean, the fact is as well, I didn't really think he was playing because he said before that, he said, Jurassic Park, and I'd forgotten that we'd covered it. And so I was like, thank God for that. I can actually watch a really good movie and stuff. So, no, apparently we've done that one. Oh, here you go. Here's this 8-hour fucking art house film.
He had it in the bag. He knew.
I reckon he might have done, He might have done. Might have lured me in.
Yeah, very smart. So that's how this topical tropical podcast ends. Without letterbox reviews. I know. What was I thinking? Well, clearly I wasn't. I gone full simple Jack. So instead, what I'll do is leave them here. First up, I have a review from Mass365. They say, not for me. Violent and repulsive. Only funny bits were the fake trailers. A spoof of self-absorbed Hollywood types, notable for the supporting performances by Tom Cruise, McConaughey, and Robert Downey Jr. Not a fan. Next up, I've got a review from Brennan. They say, still a top 3 comedy of the 21st century for me right now, along with Hot Fuzz and The Nice Guys. Just so many hilarious and quotable lines. The cast is absolutely stacked. Ben Stiller, Robert Downey Jr., Jack Black, Joe Baruchel, Matthew McConaughey, Nick Nolte, Danny McBride, Bill Hader, and Tom Cruise, all in the same movie. Speaking of Tom Cruise, I had no idea that was him the first time I watched. Anyone who says they knew on their first watch before the end credits is lying. The soundtrack is actually surprisingly great too. The movie is just simply awesome. Something we didn't touch upon is the soundtrack, but I have to agree with what Brennan says. Perfectly picked, trying to evoke the era, and proper toe-tapping bangers as well. Last up is Sam. Short and simple, they have to say, wish someone cared about me the same way Matthew McConaughey does for Ben Stiller's TiVo package. As touched upon by Dave and I, that section doesn't quite work for us. Alright. Despite my personal faux pas, Dave's appearance was, I'm sure you'll agree, a thunderous success. So I have to extend my thanks to him once again for mimicking McConaughey and stepping into a role previously assigned, but performing it with aplomb. Of course, my thanks go to you too, the listeners, for your continued engagement and participation as we journey through the McConaissance. That was Tropic Thunder, and next up in a fortnight I'm going to be joined by the athletic Math to discuss Eminem's role in S.R. Bindler's Surfer Dude, for those that are watching along. Until next time, be excellent to each other and make sure you take the time to treat yourself too. I am Jack signing off. Yippee-ki-yay, movie lovers.
You just gotta keep living, man. Livin.
Cut.